What's up, everybody? Wanted to do a slightly different video talking about what's going on with some of the characters that I've talked about a lot in my Who is Thanos series, which you can watch, of course, here over on YouTube. But I wanted to sort of talk about some of those characters because if you're reading the current run of Guardians of the Galaxy, well, this is actually the annual, but if you're reading the current run of the Guardians of the Galaxy, a lot of these characters are showing up out of all of this. And it's so kind of weird. So it's leading me to believe almost that there may be a setup for maybe not a return because Marvel's been really clear about keeping OG Captain Marvel, Mar-Vell, dead. For those that don't know, he's been dead since the 80s. Fake versions and whatnot of him have appeared. He appeared in Dead Avengers as well, but he's been dead. Death of Captain Marvel, which I may can pull that out. Let me see if I can find that for you guys. I can. Yeah. So, Death of Captain Marvel, you can get this. His graphic novel came out in the 80s, dealt with him dying of cancer. So, he's been pretty much dead. But with some of these characters all showing up is just so weird, and it's leading me to believe that there may be a possibility that he has to at least get brought up in conversation, maybe not a full scale return. But let's talk about it. Okay, so if we, for example, reference this Guardians of the Galaxy annual, Quasar appears. Now, Quasar, if for those that don't know, is the person that specifically replaced. He was the successor to Mar-Vell as this sort of protector of the universe. He appears randomly in this annual, and he's talking to Nova about a couple of different things. And then right after that, look who appears also here. If I can get this right, I don't know what the hell is going on. Okay, so Adam Warlock. Now let's talk about Adam Warlock and what's going on. We recently got brought back this past year, Kang the Conqueror. Long story, not diving into that. Maybe that's for an entirely different video. I just want to update you on what's going on. But he appeared out of that whole Infinity Wars, countdown and Infinity Wars Infinity, which took place after the recent Guardians of the Galaxy run, not the one that's going on now, the one right before that. And out of all of that, the Infinity Gems, of course, got brought up, and they are looking for these Infinity Gems. Gamora ends up having them all and ends up killing Thanos, by the way. So Thanos is dead. He's about to be resurrected. We will get into that here in a minute. But long story short, she gets the gems. She folds the universe in half, essentially, and puts all of the heroes in the Soul Gem, and there's weird versions of these heroes that are like combined together. It's all jacked up. But just know, out of all of that, what ends up happening is Adam Warlock gets the gems and uses a Soul Gem to give the other gems the souls. So they're floating around the universe. One ends up on Earth, and if you want to follow sort of the continuity of the actual Infinity Gems, read Wolverine's Infinity Watch. Right now, then he's going around with Loki, and just read that. Whole lot going on. Not gonna give it away. Just know that these aren't the same gems. They're a little weird. They didn't do the best job of explaining it. It was some sort of thing that happened with Loki in which they did sort of explain it. But there's a bunch of Infinity Gems, and there's all these different damn realities. And like, say if we have reality one only has, like, it has its own sets of gems, right? If you go to another reality, let's say reality two, the gems from reality one don't work in reality two. And there's another reality, and this is where Phyla-Vell and Moondragon. So you have Phyla-Vell, who is the daughter to Mar-Vell, Moondragon, who is the daughter to Drax, who ends up dying out of all of this, out of that whole run. So you can go read in Infinity Wars Infinity, and you can get caught up with all of that. So again, these are characters. Both of those are characters that I've talked about a lot within the whole Who is Thanos thing. So if you want to follow the continuity of those gems, read Infinity Watch. and Wolverine's Infinity Watch now that's going on right now, and get caught up with all that. So it's kind of interesting. But again, out of this whole Guardians thing, which Guardians of the Galaxy, the current run, is following what I just mentioned with that whole Infinity Wars Infinity. And another person actually ended up popping up in that whole Infinity Wars Infinity, and it's Silver Surfer. And Silver Surfer, he ended up being Galactus' herald again. Again, I'm not going to explain why that ended up happening. Actually, Galactus went through this sort of phase where he wasn't eating planets anymore, and then he got brought back to help them out. I'm not going to go too much into detail with that, but just know that he's back, and he has his own run, Silver Surfer Black, which is taking place, again, segueing really from the Guardians of the Galaxy and the current run. And out of what ended up happening is, again, this is going to get confusing, so try to follow me. Current Guardians of the Galaxy, Thanos is dead. Gamora killed him, right? So following all of that, everybody, Eros is looking for Gamora. He gets all of these people throughout the universe, and he has his own team he's trying to get to Gamora. And the reason that is the case is because Thanos leaves this sort of video, right? And he's telling everybody that, hey, I put my consciousness in another person, and you guys are now going to go crazy trying to figure out who that person is. I did that before I left. So Eros thinks that it's the obvious is Gamora, person he's raised. He sort of groomed for this. So you have that going down, and then you have the actual Guardians team with Groot and Star-Lord, of course. Beta Ray Bill ends up joining that, and Mar-Vell, as well as Moondragon is part of that as well, and they're trying to essentially protect Gamora. And then you have another team, which is Black Order, again, Thanos' little posse, is being controlled by Hela. Now she is, remember, she used to sort of, she had this little fling with Thanos, so she's trying to obviously resurrect him. She sent them to go find the body of Thanos. They got the body, which Eros had, and they're looking for the head. Remember, his head got chopped off by Gamora, so they're looking for the head and whatnot. And so out of all of that, again, I know that's probably confused the living hell out of you, because this whole black hole thing happened, which sent a lot of people in it when the Black Order showed up. And that's where Silver Surfer is right now. So that's what Silver Black is taking place in, that sort of black hole and whatnot. Some of the heroes got out, such as Beta Ray Bill. That's how we ended up on Star-Lord's ship and all of that craziness. So, yeah, so we have that going down. And it turns out that it wasn't Gamora, actually. It wasn't, believe it or not, it wasn't Gamora. It wasn't Gamora. It was Eros. It was Eros that he injected his sort of consciousness in. So he's about to be resurrected through Eros, who's about, I guess, at the end of Guardians 5. He's about Thanos, as Eros is about to transfer his body back into his own body. And he's saying, which we don't know yet what's going to happen, but he's saying that Star Fox, a.k.a. Eros, his brother, won't survive. So I was just thinking, out of all of this, I'm looking, we got Thanos, who is Captain Mar-Vell's first sort of adversary. We have Quasar, who replaced him, who's popping up in the annual. We have Adam Warlock, who also popped up in the annual, who the second sort of times that Captain Marvel fought him, Warlock was part of that. And Warlock became basically the main protagonist in all of that. So you have Warlock, and then you have like Mar-Vell as part of that, Moondragon, and some of these characters that are really have been historically tied to Thanos, but also to Mar-Vell. He has to get brought up in conversation. If they're setting up, in which they seem to be setting up, there's going to be some great conflict that's taking place. Mar-Vell, who is his daughter, Quasar, who replaced him, Warlock, who worked with him, Thanos is about to be brought back. Are we getting Silver Surfer? And Silver Surfer, it has sort of returned in a sense, and he has this thing going on. What if are they maybe they're not setting up a return, but I'd be damned if out of all of this he doesn't get brought up in conversation. Mar-Vell doesn't. So what does that mean? I mean, they've been pretty firm on keeping him dead, but could he return? Could they actually go back on all of that and actually bring him back? We'll see.